Hello.
Good to see you, man.
I think that mass deportation of 25 million immigrants is inhumane, and I would like to ask you how you would do that and go about that, or
Yes.
if you even agree with that.
So I do agree with the mass deportation of anybody who's in this country illegally, obviously. You got to draw the distinction between illegal and legal immigration. So here's the thing, and I say this as the kid of legal immigrants to this country. Your first act of entering this country cannot break the law. And if you're a lawbreaker, you need to be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law when it comes to illegal immigration. Go ahead.
I don't want to interrupt you. Thank you. I think that our legal immigration process takes way too long, and it motivates people to come here illegally. It takes, on average, about 10 years.
If we don't like the law, so I'm not gonna push you. There's a lot that's broken with our legal immigration system in all directions.
Sure.
That is not an excuse for breaking the law to enter this country. Okay, I'll tell you what's inhumane. Fentanyl pouring across our southern border, killing the kids of including the young mother who actually asked that question earlier.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry for her loss. Obviously, I'm not in support of
And it's a consequence of the border policies.
No, can I tell you something?
Do you agree with that?
No, it's not.
You don't agree it's a consequence of the border policies?
No, I don't believe that. Can I tell you why?
Why?
Because about 88% of the fentanyl that is coming in through the Mexican border is from legal immigrants or legal American citizens. And that's a
By
fact.
the cartels that have left it open.
No, that's not cartels.
It's cartel. It absolutely is.
Look it up.
It's a network. It's synthetic fentanyl. It's not even actual like original fentanyl. It's synthetic fentanyl made by Mexican drug cartels transported by our southern border across the Rio Grande.
Whatever it is, I urge everyone to look it up right now. 80% of the fentanyl coming over the Mexican border is from legal American citizens.
So let's just talk about the 20%. That's still enough to kill 20,000 Americans
obviously,
every year.
I don't agree with. Yeah. Again, I'm not trying to say I'm in support of anyone dying. I'm not saying that.
So let me ask you a question.
Sure.
If somebody breaks the law, should they be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law?
Well, I think if an illegal immigrant comes over here and they break the law and kill an American citizen, they should be deported.
Do you agree that there are people who should be able to enter this country based on merit who are unable to enter it today?
Yeah, because of our policies. Yeah.
And so is it fair that somebody who entered this country illegally is now somehow being rewarded with the benefits of this country when people who tried to follow the law are the ones penalized? Is that humane?
They're not getting illegal immigrants can't get Medicare.
Illegal immigrants are absolutely getting government assistance.
No, they're not.
They're getting
just
massive.
Not.
So
Here's a video of it.
illegal immigrants are staying.
What?
Here's videos.
There's
coming over the border.
so I'll tell you right now. I got my first job. I got my first job in New York City in 2007. It was in the eve of the 08 crisis. When my parents would come to town, there would be hotels that we could not afford to have my own family stay in to visit me as a natural-born citizen of this country that are now being used to house illegal immigrants in the city of New York. There's government aid left and right. I went to the south side of Chicago, traditionally a left-leaning region, where they are actually being displaced from South Shore High School because they're using that as a source for housing illegals, giving away sneakers and baby formula that many people in that community couldn't access last year. So are illegal immigrants benefiting from the United States welfare state and government assistance? Absolutely they are. And I don't think that that's humane to the Americans who live here. I don't think it's humane to immigrants who are unable to lie. You don't know. I want to say this about immigration. We got two questions.
Can I say one? I just
want to make one point because it's a fact. The number one human attribute that our current immigration system rewards is not your ability to work hard. It's not your intelligence. It's not your love of this country. It's not whether you can speak English. The number one human attribute that our current immigration system rewards is your willingness to lie to the U.S. government. If you lie, you get in. If you don't lie, if you say that, okay, well, I can't in good conscience tell you that I'm facing persecution to check the box of asylum. If you're an honest person, you're not rewarded. If you're a dishonest person, you are rewarded. So it is no accident that people whose first act of entering this country breaks the law and they lie while doing it tend to continue to commit more crimes while they're already here, which is happening.
I don't think those people should even be in a place to lie because we have sanctions on Venezuela and a lot of Venezuelans are going through hardship and they want to come here. And that's
it's not our job to take them. It's not our job to take them.
But we have sanctions on them. It's a direct result of our policy towards Venezuela.
Well, Venezuela's actually had effectively sanctions on the United States of America in the way they've actually treated us and deported their criminals to the U.S. without really being
Is there any
paid
evidence of that, the criminals coming over?
Absolutely.
But
Venezuelan criminals come to the United States over the last 4 years, tens of thousands. Yeah.
Can I tell you a fact? An illegal immigrant is 60% less likely to commit a crime than a natural-born citizen, and that's a fact. If you look it up,
it's by definition.
I can look it up right now. I can look it up.
It's by definition untrue because the first act of entering this country was a crime. It broke the law right out of the first place. So 100% of illegal immigrants committed a crime.
I don't think those people should even be in a place to commit a crime because of our inhumane immigration policies.
So what would be your alternative for how you deal with somebody who enters the country illegally, breaks the law while they're here?
Obviously, I would just like to say I'm not advocating for an open border. No, I'm not.
So what do you want to do for somebody who entered this country illegally, is breaking the law while they're here? What should they do?
I think if you're working, which a lot of them are, we have 8 million illegal immigrants in the job force right now, and they are hard-working people. They are that's why I think we should make them legal. If they're working, it will drive up wages for everyone.
Here's why I'm opposed to making them legal. You then have rewarded the incentives for the kind of thing that we don't want to see more of in this country. So here's my view.
Well, if you
want to follow the rules and do it the right way, we respect you. Sure. If not, we will return you to your country of origin, not because you're all bad people, but because you broke the law. And the United States of America is founded on the rule of law. That's where I land on it. And I think it's going to save our country for the long run. That's where I believe.
I just think we should invite hardworking individuals to. If you get a job, you should be a legal immigrant. You should be made legal, right?
I think you also need to speak the language, and you also need to be able to pledge allegiance to the country.
Wrap it up.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, man. I appreciate you coming.
How do you believe feminism should be defined, and do you think it can be reconciled with conservatism?
Well, so yes and no. It depends. There's first, second, and third wave feminism. First wave feminism is that women should have a right to vote. Second wave feminism had a lot of problems, which is the female liberation movement, that women should not just be at home, but they should get into the workforce. Third wave feminism is complete garbage, which is toxic modern day feminism, which is irreconcilable with any decent society, which is far more about hating men than actually respecting women. And you guys all know the type of that kind of feminism. There are some good aspects of second wave feminism, but at the core of feminism, we have to ask the question is, has it made American women happier? And it hasn't, actually. American women are more suicidal, more depressed, more anxious than they were prior. And I believe, and again, we get in trouble for saying this, is that you should have the agency and liberty to do whatever you want. But many women, a majority, like 90+% deep down, have this urge to reproduce and to raise children. And we are telling them to forsake that and go become a CEO of a shoe company. And we're wondering why so many young ladies are miserable and angry because they're at war with something within them that they actually want to do, which is to have a relationship, have children, and nurture future humans into this world.
I would like to propose an alternative perspective. I'm conservative, but I'm also a feminist, and I think that a better way to propose feminism in the public media would be not to eliminate having children and tell women that they shouldn't have children, but to figure out your career first before you decide to settle down, because you can't really undo that once you have kids.
So I think it's the exact opposite. I think you should have kids first, then do your career, because which one has a timetable on it?
True, but once you have kids, you're committed to that, and you can't really have as much of a career. So you should kind of define your I guess what I'm trying to.
Kids are way more important than being, a data scientist at Dropbox.
But okay, what if you don't want to have kids?
That's fine. Then go do it. You're risking that you might end up super miserable. And that's what we're seeing, is that we have seen a spike where half of women in their 30s that are unmarried are on antidepressants. Half. We've never seen a spike like this. And again, I'm not saying that's the only reason, but we've never, ever seen a generation or a group of people so angry, so miserable, so medicated. And there's obviously something wrong. We know who are the happiest women in America. Women with 3 or more kids are the happiest women in America. Least suicidal. Yes, right? And by the way, it's not easy, but it's super deep. And so again, if you want to go be a data scientist, God bless you. This is country, free country, go do that. I just think that there's a part of the story that isn't being told, which is that the opposite should be have kids as soon as possible, and then you can go pursue your career in your late 30s once your kids are 18 years old. And it's the opposite. We tell people, wait. And by the way, when you reach your 30s, you might be infertile, you might have trouble having kids, you might need IVF, you might need all these other very, harsh treatments, and you might not even find a mate.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Enjoy class. Thank you.
What's your name, bro?
Christian.
Nice.
So my question is, I don't believe in systemic racism. However, in 1960, the African Americans born out of wedlock was 15 to 20%, and then nowadays it's over 70%. And the only difference from what I see is the Great Society Act that was passed, where they're giving welfare to single moms. So to me, That is the only point that I've been thinking about it last night. The only point is the government stepped in, and now we have 13% committing the 50. We have a whole entire thing that happened because the government stepped in and did a system program to cause that.
Have you ever seen a mother in need to feed her children?
Yep.
It's tough, yeah?
Yeah.
Would you step in and help?
Yeah, I think it's up to the churches to help out, not the government.
So question, if you have a wife and you had kids,
I do have a wife and a kid.
so God forbid something happens to you,
Well,
and you're not involved in a church, but your neighbors know that your wife needs to feed her children.
yeah.
Are you going to be upset with the government stepping in to feed the children's belly?
No. But what I'm saying is that the government stepped in. Now you have over 70% born out of wedlock, and you have a huge
I know what
problem.
you're saying. It's more culture than it is that. So the other thing that has changed is black culture over the last 50, 60 years has changed a lot from what it elevates and what it platforms to the musicians, to the cultural figures, where, and this is not my word, just check out Thomas Sowell, who wrote an entire book on this. You know Thomas Sowell? It's phenomenal literature.
I heard you talk about him.
Yeah, so I would encourage you to look at that. But you're right. But the only thing I'll say is this, though, is that it definitely played an impact in what you're talking about.
Huge impact.
But it wasn't only that black mothers received it. Is that it helped destroy the white family.
So you're saying culture? I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, because the single motherhood program that you're talking about affected all races. It'd be one thing if it was only for black women. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that would be systemic.
Bingo.
Gotcha.
And it wasn't. But you're right. It did have a serious impact on incentivizing and subsidizing single motherhood, but culture is the number one driver.
I'm in the United States Air Force, and so as someone who wants to serve my country, as someone who's about to serve my military and put my life on the line for this country, it's tough knowing that our nation promotes things like abortions and transitioning kids. How do you reconcile serving a country that upholds these values like these, and how can we as conservatives fight against these policies while still serving proudly?
First of all, what's your name?
Hayden.
Hayden, thank you for wanting to serve our country. You should be applauded for that. Thank you. And so, you want to serve your country,
Yes, sir.
not your government,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
You swear an oath to the Constitution and the people of the country,
Yes, sir.
not the government. Those are two different things.
Yes, sir.
We have great people in this country. We have fallen. We are definitely in a place where I think we're in moral decline. But look at the goodness that still exists in this country.
Yes, sir.
And you're fighting to uphold those ideals, that kids can live in a free society. We as conservatives differentiate between love of country and distrust and disdain of the government. Those are two different things.
Yes, sir.
And the country is about our tradition, our history, our values, our people, our culture. And the government is just a temporary stakeholder of charlatans, criminals, and people that are constantly deceiving us and stealing from us. So how do you reconcile it? Every day that you go to fight for us, you say, I'm not fighting for politicians. I'm fighting for the 3-year-old right now in Reno, Nevada, so that they can have a better future.
Yes, sir.
I'm fighting for the homeschool parent.
Yes, sir.
I'm fighting for the pastor. I'm fighting so that we can keep on having liberty, life, and the pursuit of happiness. Liberty, the pursuit of happiness. That's what you're fighting for,
Yes, sir.
not the den of thieves in Washington, D.C.
Yes, sir.
God bless you, man.
Thank you
you
so
so
much.
much.